Good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's service. Today, we are going to chant Shoshin Nembutsuge in Junirai style, and followed by Dharma Talk, reading of the Ryogemon in Japanese and English, and the Dharma Talk. So please join me in Gassho. Please put your palms together. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namo. 奇妙無量寿如来ナモ不可思議光法蔵菩薩因に実在世自在用武将刀剣勝仏浄土院国土銀伝自然幕根流無常修正願長発慶右大偶勢五行死唯死小術十世妙正門実法不法無量無変更無義無体公園の頂上寛義知恵公不断難事無償公超日学校精進説一切群上無交渉本願名号症状号死心信行願義上等学将大涅槃一死滅道願成就如来超異公主説唯説弥陀本願会五辱悪事群上会往生如来如実言納発一年期愛心不断煩悩特涅槃凡上逆法再営入妙修死入海一密摂取信仰上昇号異能水波無明暗頓内心臓死運無上不真実真人天二行一行不無運無死下妙無暗逆心謙虚大狂気即応超絶合悪臭一切全幕本部人門心如来偶勢願仏言古代小芸者税人名踏んだりけ弥陀仏本願念仏邪見教満なく修上信行十字人に南中市南昔インド最天使論月中華自治騎士構想現代小構成小一妙如来本勢大き釈迦如来両河線異種光明南天竺龍十大寺出頭説質の在派有無権先絶大乗無情報召喚議事小安楽 賢治難行六六、新行異行指導楽、億年弥陀仏本願、次年即時入筆上、唯の上昇如来語、応報大悲偶税音、天神菩薩造論説、奇妙無下光如来、永衆たら見真実、光線王朝大誓願、こういう本願力栄光、移動群上昇一心、奇入功徳大崩壊、逸逆入大英収集、徳子蓮華造世界、即昇進行法精進、有本の林源人図、入生寺音寺王下、本師鈍乱両天使、上皇乱消防殺来、三蔵ルシ十条教、凡上宣行気楽法、天神菩薩論中下、報道因果見誓願、方言ねこゆたり、少女心唯心人、枠前本部新人法、承知生じ即涅槃、一子無量光明道、小修上開復家、同社結晶道難生、唯名浄土活入、万全自力変言宗、円満徳合感染症、三風三神慶音言、増末法滅道品、一生増悪地偶税、思案如外称名家、全道独名仏性意、公愛上三陽逆悪、公明明号見因縁、介入本願大智慧、行者小樹金剛心、病気一年総合、用意大東逆三人、即小法小市上楽、原神公開一大教、延期安行間一切、先祖終身反戦人、法華義道小弁流、極重悪義唯小仏、我薬剤非摂取中、煩悩証言水不見、大悲無見上昇が、本資源空明仏教、連民全幕本部人、新宗教書後編集、戦弱本願具悪説、現来生じ臨伝下、決知義上位小子、即入弱上無意楽、一致新人異能入、愚教大自主使徒、上妻無変 Shinshu Jodo Shin Yui Ka Shin Shi Koso Se Namandabut 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 生尊が一心奇妙人実法無下工業来願生安楽Namanda, Namanda, 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 Namanda. Now we are going to read Ryogemon in Japanese first and later in English. 両芸出言もろもろの造業雑種自力の心を振り捨てて一心に阿弥陀如来我らが今度の一大事の御所御助け僧らへと頼み申して候頼む一年の時往生一条御助け事情と存じこの上の称名は言法者と存じ喜び申し候この恩断り長門申し訳候ことご解散承認ご出世のご恩次第僧正の全知識の浅からざるご関係のご恩とありがたく存じ候この上は定めを課せられる恩をきて一号限り守り申すべく候両下門We rely upon Tathagata Amitabha with our whole heart for the enlightenment in the life to come, abstaining from all sundry practices and teachings, and giving up the trust in our powerless self. We believe that the assurance of our rebirth comes at the very moment we entrust, and we call the name Namo Amida Butsu in happiness and thankfulness. We also acknowledge gratefully the benevolence of our founder and the succeeding masters who have led us to believe in this profound teaching. And we do now endeavor to follow throughout our lives the way laid down for us. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's service. I was watching Japanese TV program the other day, and it was saying that definition of old shop differs by the areas in Japan. You know, Tokyo is fairly new city compared to Kyoto. So many old shops in Tokyo is about 100 years old. Do you think that is old? In Kyoto, that is old capital of Japan, it is considered young. And people in Kyoto think that about over 250 years old is considered old shop. So for the people of Kyoto, the United States is still middle-aged country. And I was born in the temple minister's family. My father, uncles, and few cousins are also Jodo Shinshu ministers. And I'm the 15th generation of Jodo Shinshu minister's family, which has over 380 years of history. So I bet my temple is considered old from people of Kyoto too. But according to my uncle's temple's webpage, I might be the third, my father is 13th, so I might be the 14th generation. But anyway, I know some ministers' temple have over 800 years of history, and they converted from Shingon to Jodo Shinshu at some point. So, my temple is not that old from the history of the Japanese temples. But what I wanted to say is that my cousins, Reverend Tomoyuki Sugahara and Reverend Saori Terumoto, is also Jodo Shinshu ministers. And Saori likes to draw. In 90s, she wrote a cartoon called Amidaman with her brother and some other ministers. And I really like this cartoon. So I would like to share the episode of the cartoon today. Anytime and anywhere, Amidaman. The earth is in sickness. Mysterious monsters appear almost every day. People had nothing but to flurry. The one who watches the earth, his name is Amidaman. I cannot help but to save them. A person becomes monster by the ignorance. For instance, him. He seems eloquent. Good morning, let's have another great day today. But once he drives, honk honk, hey, move away. Don't cut in front of me. Blah. He became the monster. Don't drive in front of me. Don't drive slow. I'm the fastest. It's the handler. Beep, 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 beep. Don't be captured by the ignorance. Psh. Wait, was I being selfish? The world is for everyone, but I thought I am the most important one. The ignorance resides in the selfish mind. Oh, I didn't know that. Since then, go ahead. Thanks. Amidaman is always right next to you. Great, I am glad. To be continued. So this is the first episode of Amidaman, and I hope I can share them occasionally. What was the problem of the handler? He was becoming selfish and thinking that he is the most important person on the world. But through the light of compassion and wisdom of Amidaman, he realized how he was being self-centered. And we all have moments of becoming self-centered. But Amida Buddha, is always with us, guiding us to realize our self-centeredness. So let us have the ear of mind to listen to the calling of Amida Buddha, to guide us in our daily lives. Okay, so let's conclude Dharma School talk with Gassho and Nembutsu. So please join me in Gassho. Please put your palms together. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu. Now, I would like to share the words of Shinran Shonin from Shoshinge Gatha of True Shinjin and Nembutsu. So please join me in Gassho. Please put your palms together. 摂取信仰上正語異能水波無明暗 The light of compassion that grasps us, illumines, and protects us always. The darkness of our ignorance is already broken through. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namanda Butsu. Namanda Butsu. Namanda Butsu. Nam. Good morning again, everyone. And someone once told me that when you get old, that time passes really quickly. And I really feel so. It's already towards the end of February. And I have so many things I want to accomplish this year. And really difficult to decide what the priority is. Now I have Sunday services, daily services, translation of Reverend Naito's book, editing for the book version of reading the text series I did on YouTube, practice of Kung Fu, play with children. You know, I wish I had 2 or 3 bodies to do all of this at once. But anyway, I hope not only the children, but also the adults enjoyed the cartoon I shared for the Dharma school. I have not seen my cousins for a long time, but my uncle established a temple in Matsudo City, Chiba in 1978. He was the first son of my grandfather, and it is the Japanese custom that the first son take over the father's job. But he decided to go to city to propagate the Jodo Shinshu teachings. And my father, he was the second son. He was going to work for the printing company in Tokyo because he was the second son. And he thought he didn't need to take over the temple. But one of his friends committed suicide, and that changed his view of life. He decided to study Buddhism. He went to one of the Jodo Shinshu affiliated graduate school, Ryukoku University in Kyoto, and received master's degree and took over the temple. And every time I think about the life of my father and his friend and the choice of my uncle, I really think how everything is a result of causes and conditions from the distant past. You know, I would not have been Jodo Shinshu ministers if my uncle took over my home temple and my father kept working for the printing company. Well, I was not even born into this world if this was what happened in the past. Life is really interesting and amazing, isn't it? Anyway, the founder of Buddhism, Shakyamuni Buddha, told us that the ignorance is the roots of our delusion, suffering, and unsatisfactoriness. And there is a teaching called 12-link or chain of dependent origination. And Shakyamuni Buddha started contemplation, starting from the root, ignorance, and how ignorance leads us to aging and death. And also, he went other way around, starting from aging and death and going back to the root. So if we eliminate ignorance, there is no aging and death. And in fact, after the attainment of the enlightenment, Shakyamuni Buddha said, I have acquired the Dharma of immortality. So I bet there was no idea of aging or death in Shakyamuni Buddha anymore. But anyway, ignorance in original word in Sanskrit is avidya, and it means ignorance. But when this word was translated into Chinese, it was translated as mumyo. And this literally means no light. So ignorance is like being in the place where no light is on. Without light, we cannot see. But we act as if we can see it. This is the cause of delusion, suffering, and unsatisfactoriness. This is just like the handler driving as if he's the most important person on the road, being self-centered, right? And if everyone drives a road with this mindset, what happens? Accidents and argument occurs everywhere. That is scary. But we all have possibilities of becoming just like the handler. Drive ourselves with the mind of self-centeredness, or drive in the darkness with no lights on. And that is why we need the light of compassion and wisdom. That is the working of Amida Buddha. Amida Buddha always protects us with the light of compassion and wisdom. We have ignorance. We have no light deep in ourselves. That is why Amida Buddha always illumines us with the light. We still have ignorance. We keep acting with ignorance. But we are always illumined by Amida Buddha. So we go to Amida Buddha for the guidance all the time, and we adjust our way of life. Our reliance of mind turned from this mind to the mind of Buddha. That is the working of Buddha. And because the mind of Buddha always guides us to the right directions, we always have chances to self-reflect our daily actions. Now, the second verse of Shoshin I shared at the beginning of my Dharma talk said, the darkness of our ignorance is already broken through. What this means? If the ignorance is broken through, then did we already attain enlightenment, just like Shakyamuni Buddha? But broken through doesn't mean that ignorance disappeared. You can hold a paper and stick your fingers to the paper. You can break the paper, but you cannot make the paper disappear. And we will continue to have ignorance, but it does not mean, it does not be the obstacle for us to receive the working of the light. The light breaks the darkness. And the moment we received the working of the light, the darkness no longer be the obstacle for the light to reach. I hope this makes sense. And also, ignorance does not be the obstacle for us to attain birth into the Pure Land anymore. Our blind passions continue to arise within us, but we are carried by the working of Amida Buddha. Just as how good swimmer you are doesn't matter once we are on the ship, deepness of our blind passions does not matter once we board on the great ship of Amida Buddha. But important thing about today's message is that we lived our lives without light, with no light of ignorance, right? But now we have encountered the light of compassion and wisdom of Amida Buddha to guide us to the right direction. And we rely on this light of Amida Buddha always to live this life with self-reflection and appreciation for the light of Amida Buddha to guide us. So I hope today's talk was somehow helpful. And in closing, please join me in Gassho. Please put your palms together. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namanda Butsu. Namanda Butsu. Namanda Butsu. This concludes today's morning service. And today we have virtual Dharma school. So if you are Dharma school students, please go to Dharma school and I will see you there. So thank you for attending today's service and please have a wonderful week.